shack at. The bottles getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated public sports radio. Time to get educated. Bouquett produced. Leave the juice letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call it truth. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
All right, everyone. Say hey. Welcome into another edition of Betting with Bouquett. My name is Jose Bouquett, a.k.a. Reverse Sweep Ramon for all you out there. Nice to see everyone in the chat nice and early on a Friday morning. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We're breaking down several sports today. We've got a good old unicorn capper of his own right, Billy Brisbane, joining us first off to talk WNBA finals, the finals that kind of everyone's been expecting, but I'm excited to see it. Next, we've got Sharpie to talk MLB. We'll talk game ones, break down the series. Maybe we'll talk about series prices, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, we've got Mike M to talk about the 2 college football games today and his best bets for this weekend. So it's going to be a lot of fun. This show will be moving quick, fast pace. Should be a good one. Probably an hour and a half show. So it'll be a lot of fun for you guys on the run there. And we'll send everyone off on their weekend. Don't forget, 1, make your cappers contest picks, hit submit. They lock on Saturday night. Don't text me or email Pub Sports Radio asking to get your picks in late because this is your reminder. 2, don't forget, we've got Saturday college football streams all weekend. Red River rivalry with them tomorrow. It'll be a whole lot of fun. And 3, don't forget about obviously Nadu and Peter in the morning and the NFL Pub Hub on Sunday as well. So let's get right into it because, like I said, it's going to be a quick, fast-paced show. We'll be talking a bunch of sports, and we'll be going in and out between all these guests, and I cannot wait for it. So let's bring on. Oh, and we're using some new technology today. So we're going to be testing out some new things as well. So that should be fun to debut as well. First up, let's bring on a man that's going to talk about the WNBA finals and the UFC this coming up weekend. It's one, and very nice haircut, by the way. Billy Brisbane joining the program. Billy, what's up?
Shouts to everybody in the chat, man. Friday morning, October the 6th. If you got one, light that shit up. Because, I ain't going to spark indoors, but we going to hit the little pen for the people.
Yeah, the pen for the people. Shout out to you, Billy. It's nice to see you. I hope the West Virginia weather is treating you well. And we've got new background graphics and stuff. We've got videos back there. So it'll be interesting to see who's high, who isn't high. And we'll be very interested to see. Let me know if you guys like the background. I can change it up. I've got different settings to see what we'll mess around and play with today. So
I think that would be dope for the UFC stream. We can get like an actual clock countdown so it don't have to be between me, Nikki, and Mills. What time are you on? What time are you on? What time are you on?
Oh, man. Shout out to the UFC stream. It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend as well on the UFC stream. Shout out to my guy T, as always, on there as well. Let's start off with the WNBA, though, one, Billy Brisbane, because I'm excited to hear your take on this series. Everyone's been kind of gearing up for it for the last, entire WNBA season, essentially. And I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are. Like I said, it's going to be a beautiful time watching these these aces and the Liberty go at it. Obviously the 2 best teams in the league. Brianna Stewart, she's a beast, obviously. Shout out to her very cute child, Sabrina Ionescu, all that good stuff, and Becky Hammond on the other side. Billy, the first game, the Aces are favored by 4.5 points. Every time I saw this regular season matchup, I felt like I looked up and I saw the Liberty winning. So you tell me, Billy, what do you think about this series? And what about game 1? What are your thoughts?
So I got more conviction on game 1 than I do for the rest of the series. Hear me out here. Hear me out. Was it a coincidence, or did they already know the Aces were going to be in the NBA finals or WNBA finals? Because how the fuck are the Oakland fucking Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders, playing on Monday Night Football? What? When I saw that this week, I was like, the Aces must play at home on Sunday or something like that. And boy, could you have not 3 o'clock sold out arena tickets. Most attended WNBA game ever in history will be the Las Vegas Aces versus New York Liberty game 1. Sold out arena and seats and tickets. The fans are in the arena. I have a question about the NFL scheduling. Do they make the NFL schedules like months in advance, right?
Yeah.
They just knew the Aces were going to be in the finals on Sunday.
Well, we kind of accepted this, Billy. Since they made these super teams, everyone's been like, all right, just chalk this up as your finals. Let's just get there. So I guess they did know, huh?
And then during the regular season, like, I'm with you, man. It felt like I didn't really bet this series too much during the regular season, but it just felt like the Liberty were just smacking on the Aces. But this is a conundrum of stats that you're going to look at. The Liberty are a really good ATS road team, but the Aces are a really good home team. Me personally, I like the under the most. When you see these two teams play like 5 times this year, I mean, I would hope that Breonna Stewart and Asia Wilson are just going to battle against each other, because Asia Wilson should have won the MVP, not Breonna Stewart. Not gonna kill her on that, but I just feel like the Aces have a little bit more to play for here. They had a very close last game against the Dallas Wings. I think they want to reinstore that they are the best team in the WNBA. I got the Aces winning game 1. I got the Aces winning the series, and I got Asia Wilson winning WNBA Finals MVP over Breonna Stewart because she robbed her for the regular season.
That would make sense. That's plenty of motivation right there. Who do you think has the coaching advantage too, Billy? I mean, the fact that I can name Becky Hammond and I don't know the Liberty's coach is probably a good indication, but I wanted to ask you first.
Well, you know, Becky, as the people know, I don't give a fuck if James Harden just showed up at camp. I'm no longer a Sixers fan. Don't send me those posts. Send me Red October. Send me fucking Jalen Hurts doing the little jiggy jiggle suit over the 1 yard line. Don't send me no Sixers training camp fucking videos. It's Spurs Nation around here, man. WNBA season. And anybody that came from the Popovich tree, it's not Bill Belichick like in NFL where you come from the tree. It's just like, maybe you shouldn't be a head coach. I'm gonna give Becky Hammond the check mark in my book. She's a good ass coach. Made some money on her in the NBA Summer League a couple of years ago.
Shout out to Becky Hammond. She's a beast at the NBA level too. Our guy Sharpie,
grown men like wild, bro, wildly yelling at grown men during NBA Summer League. These motherfuckers don't care. This is weekend in Vegas.
Yeah, she's coaching the hell out of them, and she's definitely tough on the Vegas Aces too. It's probably why they're so good. And Asia Wilson don't fucking play. Sharpie's with you as well, betting Asia as well. What price did you get on that?
What, Finals MVP?
Yeah.
Actually parlayed it. So you parlayed the paper at the dog, but I parlayed it with the Phillies winning the series against the Braves. Just a fun bet.
Okay, I like
real money to be made is on the UFC card this weekend.
Well, let's get into it. Let's talk UFC now, Billy. I'm excited because the UFC's picking up some more steam. There's some good main events coming up. We've obviously got Pereira, Izzy figuring out their shit, and then we've got Sean Strickland, all those guys. So tell me, Billy, what's happening this weekend in the UFC world, and who should we be betting on?
Yeah, the combat sports world is popping off. Tonight, you got one championship. They're starting off their little series in America. And then we got Bellator 300 tomorrow. Usman Nurmagomedov. If you guys haven't seen on the channel already, Mills has been interviewing all the people down there for Bellator 300. He was down there for the media day for that. So got a little bit of insight from him. That was pretty cool and dope. And he kept on sending us pictures of his steak that they bought him. So I guess Mills is really in there.
Shit. I mean, Mills is a sweet talker. I could see it. Mills getting to those UFC fights. I'm glad that he's not asking stupid questions anymore, too. He's asking great questions. So shout out to Mills.
Asking great questions. That has been the biggest development that I've seen from Mills in the last couple of years. Because I would be like before doing the backstage for him, like,
exactly. So that's the thing that I've been most proud of Mills too. His question game has increased. So shout out to Mills.
Yeah, Eric, your boy Andrews wasn't too happy with that one interview. My man left mid-interview. Mills asked him an Adesanya question. He was like, boop. Oh, sorry, got internet problems.
That's hilarious.
But let's get to this UFC card. for this weekend. We got Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green, the main event here. And Grant Dawson's a big favorite here at minus 420 over Bobby the King Green. While I do like Bobby Green, one of my favorite fan favorite fighters, Philly Shell style. If for the people that don't know, the reason why Sean Strickland is really the UFC champion is because he used to train with Bobby Green when he was 20 years old with fucking Lorenz Larkin, and the black guys used to just beat the shit out of Sean Strickland to the point. Sean Strickland to this day, now you see him fighting Israel Adesanya doing the Bobby Green fucking shuffle. Crazy how the world changes sometimes, but Bobby Green, ever since those Strikeforce days when the UFC made the merger with Strikeforce, he's just been a fucking gatekeeper. As much as I want to see Bobby Green get his hand raised in this spot, he's just not going to get his hand raised in this spot. Grant Dawson comes from James Krause, who is a fucking corruption out the ass, and he finally got away from a fucked up situation. And it's a fucked up situation when you got fighters fucking other fighters' girlfriends, and now they're taking pictures and shit doing don't even get me started. But Grant Dawson got out of a toxic situation, went over there to America Top Team down there in Florida, and he's been looking fucking sensational since. He's been fighting real grapplers, and he's just been chain wrestling. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the style Merab Davashvili wrestles with. It's not going to be the first, second, or third takedown, but once we start getting into the 7th, 8th, and 9th takedowns, all right, motherfucker, I might hit the ground for a second or two. And I think Grant Dawson might take a round or two to look like a minus 400 favorite. So I like the time props in this fight. The way I bet this fight is over there on FanDuel. Yeah, we got to start off with the juicy prop of the day. Grant Dawson to win and fight to start round 2, minus 185 on FanDuel. It's a fucking 420 favorite. If you want to pay the minus 185 juice, I like to tell you kindly the fuck off and don't bet the main event. But if you want to bet time prop overs in this spot, I think you might get bit in the back of your ass, man. I mean, this fight's lined at 4.5. Under 4.5 is minus 220. I think it's going to be a Grant Dawson 3rd round finish. And anything past the 3rd round, I ain't betting. I got fight to start round 3 at minus 170. Grant Dawson minus 185, and the fight to start round 2. So had to find some plus money on this fight. So the way I found plus money on this fight was betting the round props here for 2nd round, 3rd round, and 4th round for Grant Dawson. If you want to bet the Bobby Green side, I ain't gonna tell you're wrong. But I'll tell you the one thing, if you're betting UFC by resumes and on papers, you've been a losing UFC bettor this year.
No, I'm glad that you're saying this, Billy, because I have a question about a fight in this card as well. I have 2.5 favorite UFC fighters. Number 1, my guy Dan Hooker. Shout out to Dan Hooker. I just love him entirely. His fights are always entertaining, and he uses his knees as weapons. And now he has a sick leg tat. So shout out to my guy Dan Hooker. Number 2 is on this card, and he's got a fucking chin made of iron. It's chiseled out of marble, and it's Drew Dober. I love Drew Dober. The reason why I love Drew Dober is because he kicked the shit out of my half favorite fighter, Alex Hernandez, who's also on this card. Alex Hernandez, who we interviewed on Pub Sports Radio once upon a time. A little bit of a dick.
Stories about him, about how Preston was like, he might be one of the most biggest dicks that I ever met in my life.
Yeah. Preston didn't like him either. That's not surprising, though. Preston, it takes a little bit for Preston to like you, so I'm not surprised by that.
Nah, me and P were hitting it off, man. We weren't even smoking together. We was in the strip club diddy bopping.
I would have loved to see that. I would love to see Preston in a strip club, just in general. Shout out to Preston, wherever you are right
on
now.
A first date at the strip club with me, Diddy.
What a guy. Shout out to Preston.
That's what we should have been, Cameron. Not y'all motherfuckers playing poker and shit.
I know, right? That's that Preston's adventures in San Antonio. Man, Gokster too. Gokster's a ladies' man out there as well. Gokster just be chatting up the ladies in San Antonio too with that accent. Shout out to Gokster. But Drew Dober here against Rick Glenn, who does in fact sound like a King of the Hill character. Did you have any thoughts or opinions on this one? I haven't even looked at the odds, but I just asked you because Drew Dober is my guy.
I think the best way to describe this fight is how would you rank the big favorites? Because there's like four big favorites on the card that like the only way you can bet them is if you parlay it.
Okay.
Will Drew Dober be in all my parlays this weekend? Unfortunately, yes. I mean, do I think he should be a minus 500 favorite over Ricky Glenn?
Wow.
Kind of, sort of, no. But then you start getting into the greedy needies about things. What's the difference between value and a winner? Winning tickets pay the bills. Value tickets look cool to post on Twitter. I ain't trying to look cool to post on Twitter. I'm trying to fucking win. I got shit I got to pay for. I got bills I got to pay for. So, Drew Dober, parlay style, parlay boys back in town. The parlay boys are back in town. And man, and it makes me feel a little bit better because it's like, all right, you're betting a minus 500 over blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you, the last time Ricky Glenn fought, we bet the shit out of Christos Giagos at like plus 350. It was something crazy because I remember Jeff texting me. He was like, fuck, I'm thinking about tailing you and Nick. Am I going down the wrong path? I was like, Jeff, you got to do it. Ricky Glenn should not be a favorite over fucking Christos Giagos. Giagos goes in there within the first minute of that fight, fucking smokes Ricky Glenn like a fucking backwood. And we haven't seen Ricky Glenn since. Since then, Ricky Glenn's been kind of his whole entire career is inactivity, somewhat well-rounded. But when you start getting into like the basis of it, it kind of feels like the UFC's kind of doing Drew Dober a favor here. This is a winnable fight. This is a fight that can go in this highlight reel of this bunch of his rest of his knockouts. He hasn't been looking the best of recent, but you can still package him up for a couple of pay-per-views in the near future and put him against some contenders. You already hear Drew Dober at his press conference. He said, Michael Chandler, you need a warm body before your Conor McGregor fight? Sign me up for that. So, I mean, Drew Dober's always been a fan of the mode. Dana White privilege. Drew Dober by knockout. I'm not telling you anything that you already don't know.
Yeah. Shout out to Drew Dober. That guy's fucking chin, again, made of iron. Billy, I appreciate you joining me. This was a fun breakdown, getting some UFC, getting some WNBA action in here. What's your weekend intel over there?
Yeah, I got one last fight to hit on right here. I got two last fights. I got to give the people plus money.
Please.
Last two plus money spots. Joey Body Bags Piper coming out of Philadelphia. Been mad familiar with Joey Body Bags. Originally from South Jersey, trains in Philadelphia, but he's fighting Abdul Razak Alassane. And for anybody that's been here on these Pub Sports radio streams, you know my fucking hatred for Abdul Razak Alassane. He didn't cost me so much money before in my life that I didn't call him the N-word on stream, proceeded to leave the stream, blackout at the bar, and everybody watched the main event with me at the bar. I think it was Robert Whitaker versus somebody. Wherever it was, I just put the rest of the money I had on my bank account at the time in college on Robert Whitaker, and he ended up getting the win. And
thank God.
I don't know why. I remember Andre Arlovsky was on that card. I don't know who the fuck he was fighting, but he was on that card. I don't know if he won or if he lost, but that was a part of the story as well. But we're fading the fuck out of Abdul Razak Alassane. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if the price – I think he live. He can knock him out in the first round. Well, if you look at Joey Body Bag's training situation, for those sparring sessions, if you want somebody to knock your bitch ass out in the first round, you call up Jeremiah Wells. You want to fight somebody that's all big and strong, you fight Ruzi Ruzaboyev, who's been coming over to our gym over there in Philadelphia, and then everybody thought he was a fucking slouch. He went out there, his first fight, and fucking smoked Vieira. Brazilian prospect, beat RoboCop, supposed to be the next hype prospect. That motherfucker got smoked. Smoke. We're brewing right now there in the Philadelphia gym. And while I think Joey Body Bags will smoke Abdul Alassane, we're waiting for that round 2. We want that perfect number. We're going to be right. We want to be all the way right. We got Joey Body Bags. We bet round 2 and round 3 for Joey Body Bags. Round 2 is plus 600. Round 3 is 1,400. But we also want to be completely right, Jose. What's the point of being right if you're not cashing it on multiple different ways? The bookies think Joe Body Bags is going to knock him out in round 1 or round 2 at minus 125. Well, I'm going to tell them that they're fucking wrong, and I'm betting the plus 500 round 2, round 3 knockout But just in case if he does submit him, because he's been talking a whole lot of shit about his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu for this fight, we just gonna sprinkle round 2, round 3 submission 24-1. Shouts to my man Kobe, RIP.
Man, 24-1. All right, shout out. All right, Billy, this is a great card you got shaping up here. I'm excited to witness it happen.
We're just breaking down the whole entire main card. I feel like we're just breaking down the whole entire main card because I ain't got no bets in the prelims. I ain't gonna be there for the first hour, so I guess I ain't gonna bet the first hour. Why am I going first bet? I don't need a bet. But underdog of the night is going to be the first fighting card. Felipe Lins versus Ian Cudelaba. Ooh, Felipe Lins on the money line this weekend, and this is the reason why I'm gonna tell you. So, Ian Cudelaba, if you're betting him at chalk over anybody, red flag. If you go better, you might as well just bet the first round knockout because that's the only way he's going to win fights. I'll tell you right now, I don't give a fuck if the motherfucker wore a suit. I don't care if his kids are with him. I don't care if Eric Nixick's in his fucking corner. I don't care if he trains at the local gym 5 minutes away. Felipe Lins is better cardio than him, better fight IQ than him, and I just don't think Ian Cudelaba is just going to rip Felipe Lins to the ground. The only way Felipe Lins loses this fight is if he does this dumb, like the dumb light heavyweight pawn. I'm just going to circle out, but get hit. That's the only way I see him getting finished is the first round knockout. But if this shit gets extended past the 250-minute mark, Ian Cudelaba's fight IQ is just a big red flag, and Felipe Lins has just been a cash cow for us. Yeah, he was the PFL heavyweight champion, and then he came over to the UFC, looked fucking horrible, looked like he was off of steroids, and he went 0-2. Well, maybe like heavyweight's the right division for him. I always thought Ian Cudelaba, while he looks fucking big and jacked, he ain't no real light heavyweight. You know why he fights at light heavyweight? Because he can't make the weight for the next weight class. If you look at Felipe Lins, that's a real fucking heavyweight. That motherfucker big, man. For the way he cuts down light heavyweight, I think he's going to be bigger than Ian Cudelaba. That's going to help him in a wrestling stage. It's a jiu-jitsu black belt. We're getting him at plus 126 on the money line. Good money this weekend. Underdog of the night, Felipe Lins.
Beautiful. I'm joining you on that as well. That will be my official UFC bet as well. Felipe Lins. By the way, Lins is Lins there for people asking. 126 there for Billy Brisbane. Again, Billy, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure as always talking UFC, getting the WNBA in there. What are you doing this weekend?
Making money, just another day at the grind, man. I mean, we got 50 days straight of football. We're on like day 49 of that. We got UFC, Bellator popping off this weekend. This is what you call Stacktober. Holiday season around next month. You got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas. My mom's birthday was this week. We gave her a losing pick with the Giants, so ended up really having to pay for her birthday gifts. So it's been like a savage mode ever since, man. For the people that don't know, we got a couple free plays popping off, and if you've been tailing the free plays, motherfucker, you've been cashing, man. We smacked the bookies last night with the fucking DJ Moore over 3.5 fucking catches. That just felt like such free money, Jose. I didn't bet the bitch at 3 different books. Whatever you want, I will bet it. Damn it, DJ Moore. Then we had. Motherfuckers are really trying to make money if you're betting the first NBA preseason game in Abu Dhabi. Smack that cigar game,
Christ.
Minnesota Timberwolves over the Dallas Mavericks. And we're running it back all this weekend as well. That's why I'm hyped. My man Sharpie's about to come on here and give us the MLB winners.
All right, beautiful. Billy Brisbane, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to the fellow Canadians.
And shout out to the Canadians out there. Billy Brisbane, thank you for joining us. Let us switch up the background now because we've got a different guest coming on. Look at us. Look at us. Now, our next guest. Let's bring him on. MLB season, the high season, the postseason is here, and we've got 4 games to break down, all happening mañana. Great games, and even his Doyers are in effect as well. And I assume his favorite pitcher of all time, the Cooperstown curveball, in there as well. So let's bring him on. He fucks the bookies. Mr. Sharpie in the joint. Sharpie, how goes it?
Man, I'm high as fuck, bro, but not off mushrooms. So I'm sitting here looking at some of these backgrounds, and I'm like, bro, This is for dudes on other shit than I'm on, but I like this one. The money
So
falling slowly. Yeah.
here we go. Here we go. See, now we switch it up. We're feeling good. Billy brings those trippy vibes. Now we're just here for that cold hard cashola here now. So appreciate everyone again for watching. We're going to talk about these MLB games. I'll set a table. Sharpie will cook on these pitchers. Now, I kind of guessed here about what the pitching matchups would be for the rest of the series. We obviously have game ones. Some of them are unconfirmed, but they're listed on the bookies or on the books. So I'm using them as confirmed. So let's get right into it here. And let's talk about maybe the most interesting series. It's the shortest line wise, series price wise. These teams split in the regular season as well. 3-3. It's the Oakland A's. Jesus. The Orioles here versus the Tampa Bay. Jesus.
Whoa,
Texas
bro, you don't even
Rangers.
fucking get high, bro, like that, dog. What are you doing?
I don't know. I guess I've got the Rays and the A's stuck in my
Bro,
head, and
you
I'm
know
sticking
the
with the
Baltimore
O's.
Orioles have been your fucking team all year, and when you
I
get to
know.
them, you just get tongue-tied.
Exactly. They've been my team all year. They're going to continue to be my team this year. I've been Dr. Chalk when it comes to my postseason predictions here. I'm like, all right, well, wake me up because I think it's going to be both 1 seeds, Orioles, Braves win, and we'll move on with our lives here. But this series price is interesting. The split of the season series is also interesting. 3-3. You can get the Orioles at -125, the cheapest price for any of the favorites here. And, again, they've been my squad the whole year, so I'm backing the Orioles here. Dane Dunning versus Kyle Bradish, game 1. I'm expecting Jordan Montgomery to go in game 2. We'll see what the Orioles do for game 2 because that's going to be the real decision. I think they should go John Means and then go Grayson Rodriguez game 3. But we'll see what they do, and then we expect Nathan Eovaldi back in game 3. And who knows what happens game 4 and 5. So those are my first 3 assumptions there. We'll go batters wise, and I'll let Sharpie cook on some pitchers here. Just weighted runs created plus wise rankings for both of these squads. The Texas offense is obviously high. That's kind of been their calling card this whole season. 4th, 114 weighted runs created plus in this league against right-handed pitching this season. 5th against left-handed pitching, 115. So basically the same. Very good is the summary of that. Orioles are okay against righties, 102 weighted runs created plus. It always seems like they're scoring more, though. I'll tell you that. Against lefties, 112 weighted runs created plus is 8th best. Maybe a warning sign for good old Jordan Montgomery, who has made himself a shitload of money this postseason. I'm interested to hear what you have to say here, Sharpie. In game 1, I'm leaning towards Orioles -1 here. And I'm staying away from betting series prices because I think you just make more money betting the games individually. So I lean Orioles here. I think they win in 4 games. What do you think?
What I learned while watching the Phillies game is every one of these teams who won in 2 games, which it was every one of them, their game 2 pitchers should be ready on regular rest game 5. So expect Montgomery 2-5, expect Wheeler 2-5, and so on and so forth. And down the line, they should be, with the days off that they got, in line to make their starts the way they should. I think Texas has got the pitching advantage by far, bro. You're a Red Sox guy. You fucking whap me one more time, fucker, I'll whop you. And at the end of the day, Eovaldi is that dude in the playoffs until he sees the Astros. And they got the better starting pitching. That's been the problem with Baltimore for me all year long. Everyone knows I got my book. I ain't got one fucking pitcher in Baltimore in my book. At the end of the day, their bats have taken them this far. We always know what the bats do in the playoffs. They're going to cool off. Bats cool off in the playoff, pitching wins. Now, Baltimore does have the fucking bullpen advantage, but Bouquett is a dog, bro. We're going to talk coaching advantage. There is no fucking question. Bouquett is that dude. Bouchett's been there before. He's won it before multiple times. This is a new spot for this Baltimore team and their coach. So at the end of the day, I favor Texas in this series, bro. I really do. I think they got the better coach, the better starting pitching. And God, they may have the best lineup going. Carter batting 9th. You know who they compared that kid through his first month, stat by stat wise, in his first month? Juan fucking Soto. This kid has a 9% chase rate, spitting on elite pitchers shit, bro. And if he's still batting in the 9-hole, that's just turning around their lineup every fucking time he's up there. He'll take a walk. He'll get a hit. The kid is that dude. Everyone talking Kyle Lewis. Nah, bro. Carter. He is that kid, bro. He's that dude. So I favor Texas in this series, but Bradish is the better arm going into this game. So I do favor Baltimore game 1. And then I think Texas storms back with the better pitching.
It's going to be a fun series. I'll tell you, I think this will be the most competitive series of all of them. Well, I have hot takes, I guess, about Braves Phillies, but I'm excited about this series because it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the Orioles Camden Yards is going to be rocking there. I think it's going to go Orioles win the first 2 at Camden because it's going to be a tough place to play, and then they'll find a way to win one in Texas, which I maybe end up going to one of those games.
Before we go to the next game, they played in Seattle, bro. I don't know if any place gets louder than Seattle in that last week of baseball when you can't hear your own pitches and shit. So these Texas guys should be ready. This environment should not fuck with them. They should be ready. Now their bullpen is the problem, bro. But Bochy's been going to Heaney and Martin Perez. So it's just like he knows it's a problem, and he's been going back-to-back pitchers. So this game may just be fuck Dunning. You need to go as long as you can. You may just get your ass kicked today, and we're still going to leave you out there today because, you got to go 5 for us. So if he's good, then cool, but Bochy's probably going to make him go 5, bro.
Yeah, I would agree. He's been the manager the whole year that has used his starting pitching the most because he knows his bullpen's horrible. But here's the thing. The Orioles bullpen has been great all year, but without Bautista, it's really taken a hit, and he was just a 9th inning stopper, and we can say who has the worst bullpen. You can say the Rangers have the worst bullpen, but I mean, when it comes to the 9th inning, and if the Orioles are leading a game, it's gonna get dicey. It's gonna get dicey for sure. So
both ways.
Exactly. Chapman loves blowing playoff games. He loves it. He'll sit there and smile about it too. It's great.
Bochy didn't want to use him on back-to-back days. In games that he had to win. So that's how bad their closer is. We can't go to you on back-to-back days in must-win spots. Like, fuck, great. Thank you.
Will Smith coming at you very soon in this series as well. All right, let's go to our next series. Man, Sharpie, if I had balls. If I had bigger balls in my pants, I would pick the Minnesota Twins to win this series. I love the Twins pitching, and the offense is always going to be the question. Rolls-Royce Lewis was a beast. We love that. I'm not expecting Buxton. I haven't heard anything about Buxton in fucking months now, so who knows what he's doing. But if I had balls, I'd pick the Twins here because the Astros are just horrible. They've been horrible at home this year. They've just really, really disappointed everyone at home. And it's been shocking to see. And it's a 39-42 home record. It's not bad. But if you're an elite team, you're supposed to be, fortress at home. Like, you're not supposed to let people go in there and win. So, honestly, when it comes to game here, I'm going to be betting the Twins in some form or fashion at Minute Maid Park. The issue comes when the Astros go to whatever Target Field. And I think the Astros will they're so veteran savvy. They won't give a fuck about all those Minnesotans out there throwing their fishing lines. No one will give a fuck there. And Verlander is a super, super tough pitcher to go against here. But if the Twins have a shot in this series, they obviously have to take game 1. They're 50 this year against right-handed pitching, 111 weighted runs created plus. Minnesota's dead average against left-handed pitchers. So I'm expecting Framber to eat them up. And then from there, who knows? So if the Twins have a shot, they get to Verlander. I like Joe Ryan. He's not been exactly the same guy he was this year, but I still think he's a quality, good pitcher. So I like the Twins in game 1. And if I had bigger balls, I'd bet them to win this series. But the Astros are the defending world champions. They've been to fucking 7, I think about to be 8 straight ALCSs now. So it's tough to bet against them. Sharpie, what do you think about this game and series?
Man, if it wasn't minus 145 on Verlander, which seems really off to me, like it should be to me like a minus 180 to 200. This is fucking JV versus the Twins and Joe Ryan. They played Joe Ryan twice. He had a good game. if you consider that a good game, still giving up 4 runs going 6 innings. And then he got the living dog piss kicked out of him and went 4 innings. So I don't see Joe Ryan just showing up versus one of the best fucking right-handed hitting fucking teams over the last few weeks, let alone I don't pay attention to their numbers. We talked about it with Pete. I don't care about their home record, bro. They didn't have Brantley most of the year. They didn't have Altuve for a month and a half. Shit, Jordan was fucking gone. The Astros weren't the Astros all year. Dusty Baker got them to where they needed to be. And the last week and a half, in every must-win situations, the Astros did what? They fucking won, bro. They're the Astros.
They always do.
They are the Astros. At the end of the day, their bullpen in that Seattle series, when every game meant something, went 17 straight innings without a hit. Fuck a run, a hit. Their bullpen has always been elite. It's been Dusty Baker knows when to let his guys go. I'm looking to back Verlander here, especially in game 1 where the leash is there. I'm looking to take his outs. I'm going to back his outs. I'm not sold on this Minnesota Twins team. I look at their whiff and chase. I picked on them with Barrios. God, thank you that we got the 5 before that coach did the dumbest coaching move in the history of playoff baseball. And yeah, bro, I expect a guy who lives on the edges, like a Barrios, a guy who pitches very well in Houston, a very good playoff pitcher until he gets to the World Series. Give me fucking JV, bro, especially game 1, man. Yeah, not thinking Houston gets worried, but who has the better bullpen is really the question. Because fuck, Minnesota's legit. Duran is the best pitcher in baseball. 97 mile per hour split finger. That's the unhittable pitch. I don't fucking care. The Astros will die to that split finger. Let me tell you, they are the best fastball hitting team. And when you throw something that looks like a fastball and disappears, you're gunned up for it and you'll die. So you get to the 9th inning, Astros, you're not getting nothing off that, man. So I really think if these guys get hit, slam the unders when the bullpens come in, get a better number if they do type thing, because both of these bullpens are elite.
Yeah, I think I'd probably lean maybe a first 5 over here and then just leave the bullpens out of it. Because, we don't talk about the Twins bullpen, and Duran has been one of the best pitchers in baseball. You're right about that. His splitter is disgusting. People talk about it all the time. It's one of the best pitchers in baseball because it's literally 98 miles an hour, and it's just
stupid.
dropping.
It's almost ridiculous. As fast as his fastball, bro. That's not unheard of. It's supposed to be like a big variance.
Yeah, no. It's ridiculous. It's quite funny. And shout out to my guy Koji Uehara, who once upon a time dominated with a splitter in his own right. But yeah, if you're throwing that shit at 98, that's fucking tough. So. Like I said, I like the Twins here, but I can't pick against them or pick against the Astros in good conscience because, like Earl Sports Bets, this has been 7, soon to be 8 straight ALCSs with the Astros. They're a juggernaut, and they've been there for a reason. Like you mentioned, Sharpie, every single must-win game they showed up and they fucking backdoored their way into this division, and it's so funny. It's so funny. So I'll be interested. I lean over 8, but I don't know if I'll get that to the window with anything yet. Let's talk about the series that everyone wants to talk about, the main event here. Phillies Braves. This has been a series we've talked about months now because this has been written in the stars. We knew that the Braves were going to win their division. We knew the Phillies were the top wild card, and we knew the Phillies would probably roll over whoever they played. Now, this is the real life shit here. This is what the Braves have been preparing for I think months now. They got embarrassed last year in a season where they were, just gearing up for the World Series, et cetera, and how, Sharpie, as you know, Sharpie, there's obviously scripts to everything. And I submitted my version of the MLB script, and this is what I wrote down. I wrote down that the Braves sweep the Phillies in this series. I think that Ranger Suarez gets touched up because the Braves are one of the best offenses in baseball against lefties. We all know that. Nola and Wheeler get touched up because the Braves know them well and have seen them plenty of times, get the familiarity, and have hit them well. I think they sweep the Phillies here, take them out. The Braves win this World Series, et cetera. But in that anger, in the rage that John Middleton will have, he will go out to Los Angeles and he'll pluck out old Mike Trout, trade for Trout. He'll have Harper and Trout next year. and everyone will be going crazy in Philadelphia, and it'll be a whole thing. So I think the Braves roll this series with the sweep here. I love Strider in game one. He pitches well against the Phillies. Again, we can talk about the Braves offense. The Braves offense is, you could make a legitimate argument for one of the best offenses in baseball history. I mean, their lineup top to bottom has been ridiculous. They're first in both right and left-handed weighted runs created plus, which is hilarious to think about. First and right-handed, 123. First against lefties, 131. Now, again, if I had to make just individual bets on these games, I'm taking the Phillies just because of the good plus money. But I really do think the Braves can handle and roll here, Sharpie. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this series.
As I'm muted and I'm fucking yapping and talking for no reason, at the end of the day, bro, they're gonna have Strider going game one and game five. And if we talk about somebody owning a team, that's an understatement. I believe they have a combined 154 batting average versus this man in like 6-7 fucking games, 2 times back to backs, and he still had quality starts. I just don't see how the Phillies do it at the end of the day. Ranger Suarez, if he was at home, would have a way better chance because I talk about it all the time. They soak their infield like Houston. If you find a ground ball pitcher, you ride them in those 2 spots because they're going to get their double plays. Look at Nola. Every fucking ball hit on the ground 109 miles per hour was what? It was caught, guys, because it slows the ball fucking down. They do that shit for a reason in those 2 spots, guys. Something me and Noli found out about a while ago. And Max Fried is the best ground ball pitcher in the game. If he has to pitch at all, but he won't be in Philly, that's where I think it is going to go 1-1. I think the Phillies can get to Max Fried. And it's just going to come down to, can they beat Spencer fucking Strider? Because this might go 5. This really might.
This is going to be a great series. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope it does go 5 because that's just ultimately much more entertaining here. Who's going to go game 3, Sharpie, for the Braves? You think it's Elder?
Whoever it is, it's Nola versus them and advantage Nola.
Yep, I would agree with that.
And Wheeler versus Fried in game 2. That's a toss-up. I mean,
yeah, Fried's concerning. I love Spencer Strider, and I think he's good, but Fried's going to be the one that's more concerning out of the 2 of them.
Fried's a big game pitcher, bro. Something Noli showed me years ago that I don't forget shit, bro. And Max Fried has always, year by year, gotten better. All-star break into the playoffs. ERA gets just better. The dude just knows how to flip a switch. So Max Fried is a fucking gamer, bro. This dude shows up in the playoffs.
It's going to be fun to watch this whole series. Just beginning on that. Atlanta won the season series 8-5 this year. Ultimately, who cares about that? Phillies, by the way, against righties and lefties, 10th and 11th. But obviously, that's full season. Their offense has kind of fully come together in the last few weeks. Their shortstops hitting finally. Harper, Kyle Schwarber, even Bryson Stott and fucking Bohm are getting after it as well. So it's tough. And here's the thing. The Phillies recipe all playoffs last year was just win 1 road game. That's all you have to do. Just win 1 because they have a fortress in Philadelphia and they just have not lost in the playoffs except for the Atlanta or for the Houston.
It comes right back down to just win 1. Can you beat Strider one of the 2 games you face him? It's going to come down. Can you beat Strider? That's it. It's because they can get 1 or 2 somewhere in between. Can you fucking beat the guy you have a problem with? And I don't think you can. Not with Suarez on the fucking mound. I think this is, Billy was talking parlay, boys. This seems like the easiest thing to parlay up, minus 1.5 the Braves right here. You've got a ace versus a number 3-4. You've got a fucking fresh bullpen, a team pissed off about them getting beat up on last year and kicked out. This just lines up, bro, where you got Strider who owns them. Philly knows that. They're going to come in pressing. Now, Spencer Strider needs to get through the first inning, bro. At home, juices flowing, playoff game. It's happened a lot with these guys. Gallen, Luzardo. I've learned you just stay off these fuckers, man. You let their blood pump, and then settle down and then get into the game if you want. And getting in on Gallen at a 5 under first 5 was beautiful because he ain't gonna shit the bed in the second, third, and fourth. That inning's gone and passed, dude. The nerves were gone now. So I can see this guy coming super jacked up. He just needs to stay in the zone the first inning.
Agreed. And correct me if I'm wrong, last year was his first playoffs too, as
He
well.
got whopped, didn't he?
Yeah. And so I think that's obviously going to be a big, big help as well. So he's been there and all that stuff, but the home crowd is going to be fucking pumping.
If the first inning starts to go bad, he's already, dude, mentally he can get fucked off, bro. He needs to get through the first, bro. I'm telling you, it's the worst inning in the world for these guys who haven't been good in the playoffs or even been in the playoffs, some of these guys.
Yeah, this is going to be a great series. Now, again, I have my bold take. I think Atlanta sweeps here, et cetera, but I ultimately would love this to be a great series. And I don't know if it's hard to bet game to game here because you've got such high money lines if you're taking Braves. So if you're betting this, I guess you're just hoping if you're a Braves guy, you're hoping the Braves win and you have, futures tickets or whatever. And if you're a Phillies guy, you bet them every game and you ride it out.
Predict the line, Max Fried versus Wheeler. I don't think it's higher than minus 130 each way.
Yeah, I was thinking minus 125 Braves.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I wouldn't be close to a pick 'em, bro. That's going to get action. They're going to get money each way happily because the Phillies versus the lefty. And, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, fucking fun. And then you got everybody like, Max fucking Fried.
Yeah. And Zach Wheeler's a playoff demon. He's just an absolute playoff demon.
Nola, too, bro. Look at that fool. Fucking just shows up, flips the switch.
Yeah, he needs it for his fucking playoff bag, too. He needs it for that fucking contract next season. Let's get into our last game here, Sharpie. It's always a pleasure talking baseball with you, and it's especially a pleasure when we talk about your Los Angeles Dodgers here. Now, of course, on paper, this is probably the most lopsided series. You've got the Dodgers at minus 225 for the series. This is little brother syndrome, but it's not as bad as the Padres, I guess. The Padres really feel like the little brother. The Diamondbacks are just kind of forgotten about in the corner. They're just like, hey, pay attention to me, guys. We're still over here. And they've looked great. And I think they popped their cherry. They might have busted their nut already. Beating the Brewers. Congratulations to them. Corbin Carroll looked great. But now you're going against the Dodgers. Now you're going against the Hall of Fame pitcher and Clayton Kershaw. And I fully expect Kershaw to roll. I expect the Dodgers to kick the shit out of the Diamondbacks game 1. But the real question is, what are we going to get game 2 and 3? Because this is the most questionable Dodgers pitching staff it has been in a little bit. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Sharpie. Are you expecting Bobby Miller in game 2?
Yeah.
Okay, Bobby Miller in game 2, first playoff game. That'll be interesting against Brandon Pfaadt, maybe, probably, because he pitched game 1. So we'll see how that goes. And then at least the Diamondbacks have game 3, Gallen at home where he wants to be versus Gavin Stone.
No, I'm not hope. We'll probably go to a bullpen day. Game 3 is going to be Lynn. Game 3 is Lynn.
Okay, Lance Lynn.
Unfortunately, he's our fucking game 3 starter. Yes.
Wow. Geez, see that's crazy to think about. And the Dodgers are, in a lot of rights, they're just as good as the Braves. It's just
not
the
starting
pitching. Yeah, the
starting
pitching depth
is always
scary.
a problem, bro. When it's like you can only go as far as your starting pitching in the playoffs, man.
Agreed. And you have, maybe the best single starting pitcher in the playoffs with Kershaw. But how long is that going to take you? And how old he is and et cetera, et cetera. So I'll clear out the floor here, Sharpie. What do you think of the Dodgers, in this series? We expect them to win, but what do you think about their playoff chances in general?
I don't like our chances to win a World Series, I'll tell you that. But there's one thing I've learned about the Dodgers. When everybody counts them out, that's what you don't want to do to this fucking team, because then they just start like, nobody thinks we're good. What? We're the fucking – you get 300? You get 300? We're not good. Okay. So they did it with the Padres this year at the beginning of the year. Everybody said it was the Padres' year. They were going to win the division. Shit. These guys who ain't won a goddamn World Series in their whole career changed their hashtag to bring the gold. Y'all don't know what gold is, bro. Shut the fuck up. This is the Dodgers division. And it was fun playing baseball with you last year. You just can't repeat it, bro. So I don't want to hear about how we knocked you out last year. Like I said, your starting pitching will only take you so far. It should get us through the Diamondbacks. I'm big on fucking Kershaw. Don't tell me about his playoff ERA. He's fixed that a while ago. I've been to a lot of those games, guys. The dude's been pretty good. So everyone's like, oh, is he on a pitch count? This and that and this. I think they already got it planned out, guys. They let him go 83 pitches last time out, which tells me he's going 90. He's going 6 innings. He's going to hand it off to the pin. And the Arizona Diamondbacks have a guy going in game 1 that if there's a game 5, they don't want to even see this fucking team. You don't want Merrill Kelly going up against the Dodgers. Nah. Not let alone in his first ever playoff start in Dodger Stadium, where you can guarantee that bitch is going to be sold out. Dodgers own Merrill Kelly, guys. We have, 6-7 guys who bat 280 or above on this guy. This is not the matchup you want heading into this game, but this is the matchup you have to put in, as in Merrill Kelly has been good for you, but this is the team that has his number. Also, in wise is Kershaw's had these Diamondbacks numbers. So Kershaw at home in a fucking giant playoff type atmosphere. Milwaukee isn't that atmosphere, boys. You're going to see a playoff atmosphere today. So tomorrow, I expect the Dodgers to roll in game 1. I'm going to be looking at Kershaw's outs over 15.5. I love these low playoff outs. I love attacking it. I expect the guy to go 6. The game plan with them is always set in motion beforehand. It was 5 innings all the way up until the last game of the year when they opened them up to 83, which tells me they're going to 6 innings to the bullpen, which has always been our playoff type fucking goal with Dave Roberts and them. And I like it, guys. Don't push too much on the starters. Get us through 6. We'll get you to the end. And we have a decent back end of the bullpen. So I like the Dodgers to at least get through this round. Now, everybody's going to count us out versus the Braves, and you don't want to count this team out. You just don't. I'm not going to say we're going to beat them, but you don't want to just give it away. I'll tell you that. No.
It's not going to be a cakewalk by any means. The Dodgers are really good. You could easily say that the Dodgers have the best pitcher left in baseball with Clayton Kershaw.
Nah. Maybe 5 years ago. No, bro. Come on, bro. Clayton Kershaw's not JV's come on, Framer Valdez, bro.
I love
there's
Framber
other
too.
guys.
He's Clayton Kershaw, just so experienced, has been there, will never be shaken by anything. And you're right. He's fixed his playoff. The last time he was bad in the playoffs was 2018. Really. I mean, it's been a long time.
I was there the last time he was bad. Dave Roberts pulled him out in the 7th inning, bro, in the Nationals game. Game 5 of the NLDS. And I saw 6 people throw their Dodgers jersey. I was sitting third base line right by the Hanson brothers, bro. This is back when I had a lot of money. And I was trying to go pick up the jerseys and got yelled at by the security. I'm like, that's money, bro. Y'all just pissed off. But also what I love of what the Dodgers are doing is Bobby Miller starting at home. Yeah, I hate these guys. I get it in the wild card series. They had to, man. But you do not want a rookie pitcher or even any pitcher like Merrill Kelly in a rookie. But this is his first playoff game. It's on the road. It's on the road, which means your butterflies sit even longer and longer. The longer that first inning goes, you're just like, and everything that goes wrong just clicks onto that, bro. So these guys making their first start that first inning is the biggest key of the game. I'm telling you, man, the first inning is the most detrimental spot for teams like Merrill Kelly, teams like Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan's got to get through that first. It's his first ever start in a hostile environment. That's the hardest inning, guys. And especially when you're on the road and you have to sit in the dugout. And those butterflies are real, bro. They're real.
Yeah, and if you even look it up, statistically, the highest scoring inning in baseball is the first inning, too. So, I mean, we said it with again, Strider. was the best pitcher in baseball last year for a lot of points. Came in the playoff, got his shit rocked. So I'm pretty shocked.
You brought that up
Phillies
right now.
first.
I'm so
Sheesh.
glad I forgot a stat that I didn't bring up. There's 2 pitchers left in baseball that have the best ERAs versus playoff contending teams in the playoffs. We've got Spencer Strider and we've got Sonny Gray.
Yeah.
Jose Barrios was in that mix too, which didn't understand why they pulled him. Him versus the elite teams this year that made the playoffs, he was dominant. He had less than a 3 ERA. So
that's
just
Kevin
goes to
Cash-esque.
it goes to they used to pull Sonny Gray 3rd time through the lineup. Now they let him go. Like, the coach is seeing the game. The Minnesota coach, bro, got to give him credit, bro. What is it? Rocco?
Yep.
Rocco's a good coach, bro. And I just like some of the stuff he did in the offseason. The guy learned Spanish so he can go to the Dominican Republic and hang out with his players. Coaches don't do that shit, bro. You do that, bro, you're a team. You're a tight-knit team, bro. And those teams can go far. So that's scary.
Yeah, I love Rocco Baldelli. Shout out to my guy Rocco, and shout out to Rocco Rogers in the chat as well. Yeah, it's going to be a great time watching these games. Sharpie, it was a pleasure breaking them down as always with you. I'm excited to see how these unfold. We've got good CS matchups potentially coming up, and I'm very excited for all that comes. Sharpie, what are you doing this weekend? What's the weekend got in store for you?
I don't know, bro. Every day you just wake up and it's usually the same, and then you figure it out from there. So hookers and blow, hard dick and bubble gum, and I'm fresh out of bubble gum, fellas.
There we go. Sharpie's Bets joining us. Thank you, Sharpie. As always, my guy. Sharpie joins the program and always brings spice into it, and I love it. So thank you as always, my guy, Sharpie. All right, last capper on the program, and let's talk a little bit of college football here. He was up all night, probably rooting for the Chicago Bears, hopefully, and it's clean shaven. Pimp Slap Pod. Mr. Mike M joining the program. Mike, how's it going? I've got to change the background one last time because we're in college football mode. How goes it, Mike?
Jose, I don't know, man. We got to look at this schedule lineup here. I don't know how I'm supposed to follow hard dicks and bubblegum. That's a tough spot to jump into here, but I'll do my best. We got a great card coming up this weekend, and we had an awesome night last night. A couple of big spots. I saw some guys in the chat were cashing. Same game.
I heard you to plus 1,000, huh?
Yeah. In the first quarter, we cashed that thing too. It was talking about sweat free, and then we closed the door on a 3-1 as well. To finish the card out. So it was a lot of fun last night. We made, I think collectively, the panel, the chat, I think everybody was making cash last night. And despite it being a less than exciting game, it still had some fun spots in it. And we were able to get that cash, which is what's most important. But college football's here. It's cute. You guys talked about Beaver Ball. Check the box. Move that out of the way. You talked about some UFC main card. Check the box. Move that out of the way. You talked about some baseball, which, let's just fast forward. It's a Phillies World Series. We can move on from that. Yeah. Now let's talk about where we want to eat. It's going to be college football weekend. It's a big weekend. Great matchups. And that's the best thing about this time of year. College football's got games in, out, up, down, all over the place. Whether you want to watch a bum fight or you want to watch a ranked game like the Red River rivalry would be a great spot here this weekend as well. I'm fired up, man. It's going to be a great weekend.
It is going to be a great weekend. I'm excited to figure out what's all going to happen. It's going to be a lot of fun. Shout out to Nasty Nate joining us. He's saying we killed it. Plus 1750 there. Nasty Nate, wait, tailed one of your bets and cashed? Excuse me?
He went slightly rogue, and I give him credit for it, but he listened to the breakdown. We always hear about having, 2 ears and one mouth. And what he did is we talked a little bit about DJ Moore and the progression of increased looks and target share that he's gotten across, the Chicago Bears, but really leading in the top 5 in the NFL. And he went out there and he gave Moore to get 2+ touchdowns. And then, of course, I see Philly Eagle Flyer jumped on there with the 3. That was a lot of fun. That was a great breakdown of that game. And I'm glad you guys made a ton of cash. So guys, do us a favor. Make sure you hit that like and retweet. I see some black names out there. If you guys haven't already, become a member. It costs you $4.99 a month. We're out here giving you guys not just a bunch of picks, but our plays. And that's what makes it so exciting. There's a big difference between picks and plays. And the Pub Sports crew definitely makes their own plays. And Betson puts our money where our mouths are. And that's why it's so exciting. It's so real, these takes when we end up hitting these big spots. So
yeah, it's a big swing. A plus 1,000 can change your whole month there. So thanks for giving that out, Mike. Shout out to everyone that bet it and cashed on it. So shout out to you. And of course, Craig Wood saying, Dick Buck is dying. He thinks Illinois will step up like the Bears did. But I mean, that was the most obvious thing ever. I should have bet the Bears money line immediately when I saw that news. So let's get into some college football here, Mike. I'm excited to talk about our first game, and let's give everyone a little history lesson on Pup Sports Radio here. And by the way, I'm changing back to the money. The money felt right.
Let's go. The money feels right, man. Look at that, hundreds of feels right, man.
We even got some fives in there too. How about it? The strippers need love too. Give them a 5 as well. But let's go through some Pup Sports Radio history. As many people know, I went to Oklahoma State my freshman year of college, and I got fully indoctrinated into it. Big fan of their program, et cetera, et cetera. I went to UTSA for all my other years because out-of-state tuition sucks to pay. And then I was one of the fucking driving forces of getting that fucking program out of the fucking gutter. I'll give myself credit for that. And I've been more focused on UTSA football. Still an Oklahoma State guy. But the thing is, Mike, this program has been shit for 2 years now. Just horrible. I have been pushing my fire Mike Gundy agenda for now years. He is a horrific football coach now. He cannot recruit anymore. And as evidence of the first 4 games of this season, he's an indecisive, stupid fuck. He ran 3 quarterbacks out there forever. Yeah. And now he finally decided on Alan Bowman, I believe his name is. Yeah. I just don't care. He sucks. All of them suck, Mike. If you ran 3 quarterbacks out there, you have no quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And he even threw some nepotism in there and threw his son in there for the mix too. It's disgusting. I don't want to watch Oklahoma State play football anymore. I have not watched a game in years now since we sucked. Our starting quarterback last year, Spencer Sanders, who sucked ass in his own right, transferred to Ole Miss to sit the bench. That's how bad Mike Gundy in this program is. He transferred to Ole Miss just to sit there and watch. So there's no chance am I betting Oklahoma State in any game this season. The Alabama State game, I believe it was, whoever they lost to, they were 7-point favorites at home and they got crushed 26-7. This team is horrible. And again, we talked about this briefly earlier in the week. I say all this, Mike, and I'm going to talk myself into Oklahoma State at one point in this season. And I already know it's going to be versus Oklahoma. It's going to be Bedlam football. I'm going to get re-excited all over again. I'm going to be like, wow, we can do this. The last Bedlam, we're going to win this ball game. But guess what, Mike? I'm going to be wrong because Oklahoma State fucking sucks, Mike. Mm-hmm. They fucking suck. Tickets and cash here real quick. I didn't do tickets and cash for the whole show, but I'll give it to you right now because guess what? Everyone knows this team sucks ass. 80% of the bets, 89% of the money on Kansas State minus 11.5 here. No chance of my betting Oklahoma State. I don't want to lay double digits on the road. Easy pass game. Fuck Mike Gundy. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'm not a quarterback, so I don't know what pass means. I'll find a play out of every single game. And, for more often than not, we're going to be successful. I mean, you so eloquently discussed the history of Oak State. I thought that history was going to go a different direction because you talked about kind of pulling them out of the abyss when you were there. But then you kind of came back around with the old spinning back kick and said, nope, they suck. They're garbage. Nobody wants to play there. And there's probably a lot of truth to that. I will say, though, Mike Gundy, say what you will about him as a coach. And if you want to lead the charge to get that guy taken out of here, it is what it is. He recognized that quarterback issue and he went to the transfer portal. Bowman coming out of Texas Tech and Michigan. To me, I see a guy that's played in a couple different schools. He's probably a loser if he hasn't been able to stick in one versus the other, right? I mean, we talk about
exactly
kind of calling it how it is. And this guy's now on his 3rd school and he's settled with Oak State. Probably because it's the only program that would let him start in an overall position here. But with these teams, we've got both teams coming off of buys. And, hate on Oak State if you want, but the Big 12 sucks. It's just it's like I'd rather watch, Mountain West and MAC schools battle than these Big 12 schools. They don't play defense. They play a ton of offense. Games seem to take forever. And it's just something like I want my money back in my bank account so I can roll it onto something else, not wait for these guys to, get up to 100 points and triple overtime. So, the thing with this game here is I think Kansas State, clearly the favorite to win the Big 12. They look great. They have a great offensive success rate. Here's the thing I'm not about when it comes to these sports and talking about college football, NFL as well. You're not going to sit here and hear me talk about Will Howard and, he's 91 of 139 for 1,000 yards passing. That's not my style here, right? Anybody can look at that stuff. You can even find some of these sites where you can pay for indexes and they'll kind of show you their power rankings and they'll put a score on what they think the score arbitrarily should be based on rankings for the games. That's not my style either. But where I try to get into is I try to kind of break it down and show you guys where I think what these numbers mean and where those advantages are. We'll back it up with some trends that make a lot of sense. And in this Kansas State spot, their offense is just too damn good. They've got over 40 points in their last 3 games. They're 26th in offensive success rate. They're 4th in all of college football in finishing drives. Now, probably part of that's because they played a bunch of punching bags. They got a UCF game. That was a big score. They did play well against Mizzou. They, albeit lost, 30-27. They played Troy. They played Southeastern Missouri, a bunch of scrub schools out there, but they were able to be confident with their offense, and that confidence breeds success. And on the other side of things, Oklahoma State's defense ranks 56. They're kind of middle of the pack. The thing that I think is going to hurt Oklahoma State is it's not just one style. They're not a linear one-dimensional team, Kansas State. They balance the attack out there. They're confidently running 28th in rushing success. They're 35th in passing success. So not only do they go both sides of it, passing and running, but they do it effectively. They've got a really strong rushing D as well. They're first in terms of rushing D in terms of the overall successfulness in the program, 5th in rushing yards prevented in college football as well. Where the opportunity or the vulnerability lies is the passing D. They're 73rd overall in passing D, 80th in effectiveness. Where I think that kind of correlates to here is if you're talking about trying to take an Oklahoma State spot, take a look live in that second half of the game. Maybe even a second half spot for Oklahoma State. I can't endorse it, but a couple of the trends that I came across here, specifically around dogs, going back to 2012 in college football, when there's a dog that's got a line that's greater than 3, the numbers are correlating to a 20 and 11 ATS spot. Now they're not winning outright. They're 13 and 18 straight up, but they're finding a way to get the job done. Home dogs in a conference on a Friday coming off of back-to-back losses when the line's greater than 4 are 19 and 4 against the spread as well. So again, it correlates to me in saying there's that opportunity for a potential live play, maybe at 21.5, maybe at 27.5. You're going to have to watch the game and kind of feel that piece of it out. But I just see a lot of numbers that correlate to Kansas State's success. Away favorites in the conference going back to 2010, 14-2 straight up for Kansas State. And it's going to tie me back as I talk about the successfulness they have in their offensive game plan to the spot that I'm going to play in this game. I'm not going to drop those points on the road. I said, if anything, I'd look for a live spot. I'm going to take the Kansas State team total over 33. That just to me feels like a spot where, again, we've put up over 40 points. Mizzou, who I think is probably going to be playing in the Big 12 championship against K-State, is going to be that team that, certainly has a stout defense, but they still were able to put up 27 points on that defense. Aside from that 27, they put up 40 plus on every other team they've played. So I got that Kansas State team total over 33. I don't really care who wins the game. Just give me those points and let me see if I can get that thing cashed in the first half.
Beautiful. I was going to ask you about that team total because a lot of people in the chat were mentioning it. Woo Rizza, Craig Wood in there, Christopher Comentini in there as well. And I'm glad that you guys are all on it. So little Kansas State team total action for Mike M there, and I'll write that down. What number did you get on that, by the way?
33. Yeah, Craig, I got it. Slip of the tongue.
33. Beautiful. What odds did you get?
Minus 110.
Minus 110 there. Beautiful
work. That's the standard going rate in a lot of these college football spots. Andre says the team total is down to 31.5. Andre, do us a favor, man. Subscribe to Pub Sports Radio. Go green, buddy. Go green. We get in the green. Let's go.
Yeah, and bet that fucking total there too as well, because you got a better number. The next game on tonight, Nebraska, Illinois. Shout out to our guy Justin McElvey, Stacks Pod, stacking that shit on Nebraska plus 3.5. Shout out to you there, my guy. All right. What a game we have here. Now, I don't know what to make of Matt Rule's Nebraska squad yet. And truthfully, for Illinois, I'm sure this is not their coach, but Brett Bielema is still their coach in my head. I don't know if he's still there or not. But I just can never get there with Nebraska, Mike. It's just maybe just PTSD from past years and watching them just always shit the bed. And Illinois is having a good running back and just running the ball, playing good defense, and just doing what the Big Ten usually does. But I would love to hear your take on this one, Mike, because this is going to be an interesting game to say the least. So it's a low spread, so you can at least expect some a good matchup here. 68% of the bets and 59% of the money on Nebraska in this game as well. Interestingly enough, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, you talk about Matt Rule. When I run trends, I look at them typically in three buckets. I look at a team-specific trend. I look at college football trends and how does it correlate with a bigger sample size. And then in college football specifically, because there's so much turnover, especially now with the transfer portal, I look at the coaching trends. So if you're talking about, Nebraska, you're obviously got to look at that head coach and Matt Rule. Big trend for Matt Rule in his now he obviously had that break in between where he kind of had a cup of coffee in the NFL, comes back to college football. And when Matt Rule loses, just kind of plant this in the back of your heads for future. When he loses 2 games in a row, he comes back and whoops up on that team in the third game. It happened already this year. We were all over that game against Northern Illinois. He lost to Minnesota 13-10. He lost to Colorado 36-14. And then he came out and he whooped up on Northern Illinois 35-11. Even though there was 11 points for Northern Illinois, that game wasn't even close. It was like scrub time towards the end. Came back and he whacked down La Tech. But they just came off of a beatdown against Michigan, 45-7. The thing about the Big Ten is, definitely a defensive situation, a defensive program, a defensive kind of division and conference across football. You've got kind of your Ohio State, your Michigan, and Penn State, and then you got everybody else. And these teams fall into the everybody else category. The uncertainty right now for Nebraska is this quarterback situation. Jeff Sims is their guy or was their guy. He's dealing with an ankle injury. I think he's been out the last 3 weeks. And they got this Harburg guy. Henry Harburg is a guy that's really a dual threat quarterback. He's leading the team in rushing yards. He's leading the team in offensive passing yards as well. And that's kind of the deal with Matt Rule is, albeit his quarterbacks are an issue, the durability is the question because those boys hit hard in the Big Ten. And when you've got mobile quarterbacks, especially in the Big Ten, you're not getting the biggest, fastest guys out there. You're just getting the guys that really take a bunch of hits. Now, they do run effectively, and that comes down to the dual threat situation that Matt Rule puts out there. They're 13th in success rates in rushing the ball. The challenge is on the defensive side of things. They're 64th in success rate, 36th in terms of explosive allowed, which is a confident stat there. Explosive points allowed, is an opportunity where they're just shutting down potential big plays. And then as far as the rush D goes, they're 41st. So they're still in a pretty confident spot there in the upper third of college football in terms of their defensive capabilities. Then if you look on the other side of things, Illinois really, is supposed to be a defensive team, and they're ranking at 113th. They're 93 in finishing drives. 93 is not a spot you want to be in terms of being able to stop drives from being finished. So as I kind of put these two together, there's a 50-50 split that Illinois runs in their offense, right? They run a pretty balanced attack. The thing is on standard downs, right? So like your first and second down type of plays, even your third downs, standard downs, they rank 13th in effectiveness across college football. Very strong number. But when it comes to being forced to passing downs, they rank 108th overall in college football. So if this game gets tight, and I have a feeling that Nebraska with their defense and the way that they kind of have that dual threat to me correlates to ground and pound, controlling the clock, finding a way to get those big plays to continue to move the chains down the field. And what happens now is if Nebraska can stop those early plays, those standard down plays that I referenced, it's going to force Illinois to have to pass the ball, where we've seen that they're 108th overall in college football. So that being said, a lot of trends that I saw for, the side of Illinois, I see a number of spots here that say Big Ten, when Nebraska's playing Big Ten conference games, as an away dog, they're 7-24 straight up, but they're 19-12 against the spread. Another number that kind of correlates to that is they're 6-2 against the spread when they got a line that's less than or equal to 3.5. So a number of spots here suggest Nebraska, and that's going to be where I lean on this play here. I'm going to take Nebraska plus 3.5 with the hook, and I see what it's out there right now as far as that number is concerned. 3.5. minus 110.
Go ahead. Beautiful. I love that. I'm going to write that down for you, and I'll be joining you guys myself. I have 3 minus 106, unfortunately, but that's fine. That just feels like it's a good sign that the line's moving in our direction. So I'm on Nebraska with you guys as well. BJ has a big boy bet on him, Justin McElvey on him, Mike on him, and now I will be on them as well. So yeah, I don't hate anyone that splits their bet, either goes half spread, half money line as well. I think that's always a decent way to go about
I like a little sprinkle on that. And the other correlating point that you won't find in the trends is just from my gut and my couple of hundred football plays I put already out this season. When there's a certain book, and some of you guys have heard me say this, I won't say it here today because I don't want to be disparaging without cocktails in me, but when there's a certain book that has the better number, the loss rate's like through the roof. So I see a minus 3.5 for Illinois at even money right now. That just correlates to me to go back to that Nebraska spot. Can't quite put my finger on what it is other than the fact that they're just a public trap book. And I try to stay away from that. So yeah, Nebraska is ass nasty, Nate, but so is Illinois. And those fighting Illinois are going to have their hands full with Matt Rule's team in Nebraska coming off that beatdown against Michigan. They're going to try to rally back the troops and find a way to cover that 3.5. And I'm not mad at anybody that wants to sprinkle that money line.
All right, beautiful. That concludes our Friday action here. Only 2 games, but it's fun to have 2 games on here nonetheless. Let's get into your Saturday little best bets here. I asked you if you wanted to talk about any other games that you mentioned them. We talked about 2 of them yesterday, so I'm excited to hear your take on them. I've got bets in 2 of them already, actually, as well, so I'm doubly as interested to hear your take in them. So let's get the first boring one out of the way. TCU, Iowa State here. What a disgusting dust bucket of a game that you decided to pick here, Mike. You don't like the Big Ten, but here we are betting on the Big Ten. Matt Campbell, and once upon a time, Matt Campbell could have made the NFL and been a coach there, and now he's just toiling away at Iowa State here. What do you have on this game, Mike? I'd love to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah, so I'll preface it by saying, a couple of different things here. First, we've had a lot of fun on some Friday night shows, throwing off a bunch of Saturday college football games, and the record has been tremendous. I think we're winning at over a 75% rate right now. So I'll preface it by saying that, follow it up with saying I've got 4 stymie schools that I just can't find the right side of here. Iowa State's one of them. Iowa's another one. Boston College is on that list. And then Temple. Those are the 4 schools for me that just kind of forever historically have fallen into kind of stymie territory. But we're going to try it anyways. I got 2 looks on this TCU game. And, I feel confident in both of these spots here, specifically because I've got intersecting zeros. You guys have heard me talk about when I find these trends that kind of have that correlating spot, 1 on each side. You can run trends all over the place and you can find supporting causes for all kinds of reasons. But when I find some simple numbers and they intersect at zeros, to me, you got to go with that spot that's the favorite here, and that is TCU. When TCU's favorite of greater than 2 points, they're 7-0-1 in their last 8 games against the spread. Flip side of that, conversely, Iowa State, when they're playing an opponent that had greater than or equal to 450 total yards the previous game, Iowa State's 0-8. And the thing about that number is the margin, right? So you guys have heard me talk about margins before. 14 points is the margin in that thing. Iowa State's not just losing, they're getting beat down, which suggests that they're going to probably lose this game by a total score of around 21. So TCU 7-0-1 is a favorite of greater than 2 their last 8. Iowa State 0-8, losing by 14 when the opponent they play just has a ton of offense. And if you think about it, Iowa State's an underschool. Iowa and Iowa State are both underschools. But in this case, look at these numbers and how they correlate. What they're saying is when Iowa State plays a team that scores a ton of yards, they get beat down. And when TCU is a favorite, they've been beating down. The other number that I kind of found in this spot here that ties back to that Iowa State, situation that I was just referencing as an underschool. Check this out. Iowa State, 20 straight unders as a dog of less than 7 points. 20 straight under. You got to be incredibly terrible when you're in a dog roll to lose or get an under 20 straight times. They're just not putting up offense. Not only is it 20 straight times, but the margin is 16.7 points. So you're getting you're almost getting 2 touchdowns and a field goal in terms of not covering that total. And here's the best part about it as you look at this game. 49%, open at 49.5. The number's now 52.5. 84% of the bets are on the over. 89% of the cash. Just short of everybody's playing. Once we cross over that 90 threshold, everybody's playing the over. And now I'm coming in and telling you that thing's going to go under by 17 points. So you almost got 3 points on your side. You're looking at almost 20 points to the under. Don't be mad or be afraid to adjust that under as well. So give me TCU and give me the under in that game.
TCU and the under there. Minus 110 for each one, I assume.
Minus 105 for the under 52.5, and then minus 110 for the -6.
2.5, minus 105 there. And what was the spread? -6.5, minus 110?
-6.
-6. Beautiful work there, Mr. Mikey M. Appreciate you there. Let's go to the games that I care about now, Mike. Being selfish prick today. It's all about me today. Bama versus A&M, and this line has continued to move. We talked about it yesterday with one Dabby Cab, who is an A&M fan. Don't let him tell you differently. And same thing about the Rangers. Don't let him tell you differently. And he said he was scared. He had to go to church, and he was a little scared not to bet A&M. And I looked at him in the face, and I said, I'm betting Texas A&M. I have seen, and Debbie used factual statements to prove my statement wrong, but I have seen A&M beat Alabama seemingly every other year at A&M. It feels like it's just a yearly tradition. They find a way to do it, from Manziel to the field goal kicker from the other year. They always find a way to do it. And we remember Jimbo Fisher's rivalry with Nick Saban in the offseason. They were talking that shit. Now this line went from -1.5 yesterday to now down to a pick 'em. I got A&M spread and money line yesterday. Money line -105, spread +1, -110 there. I'm feeling good about my action here, Mike. Please enlighten us. What do you like here in Alabama, Texas A&M?
Yeah, straight to the point. I got to go to Bama on this thing here to pick them. Alabama, when they're favorite, less than or equal to 3 points, are 5-1 in their last 6, and they're covering by almost 15 points. 14.7 is the average margin of victory against the spread when they're in a 6-game sample. So just over 2 touchdowns. Furthermore, there's another spot that I saw with Bama that showed a 28-8 trend covering by a touchdown. So I've got 2 spots that show. And again, I'm not one of those guys that says, oh, the line's moved against me, I'm doubling down on it. I think that's kind of a little naive. But what I do feel like in this spot is give me the opportunity where I feel that cover or the margin capabilities out there. Also, I think the motivation lies with Alabama. The last time, granted, it was 2 years back in 2021, but it was a walk-off field goal victory for Texas A&M when they were last hosting Alabama. So I think Saban remembers that, and I think Saban isn't afraid to get physical and violent in the locker room if it comes down to it, allegedly. But, I don't think he's going to go out there and roll over in this game here. I was talking last week about potential quarterback controversies out there. Yeah, they lost to Texas on September 9th, but then they came back and they played a tough game against South Florida. We were on that under. That was an under spot where Nick Saban, off a loss, was covering the under like 15 straight times. Then they came back and they played Mississippi. They whoop them up 24-10, covering the spread. Then they go out and they play at Mississippi State, and they smack them boys around too, 40-17, covering that spread. So Bama. That Texas spot was, in my opinion, a little bit of an anomaly. But I kind of felt like that might be the case with Bama and their quarterback issues they've had here. I got to go back to Alabama here. Nick Saban's going to find a way to get it done. His program's not done yet, and he's definitely got revenge on his mind. Sorry.
This is going to be a fun matchup here, Mike. You can't wait. By the way, some ticket counts for the last game there. 43% of the bets and 74% of the money on TCU spread there. So I like that for you. On this one, Mike, unfortunately, I have some bad news for you here. 58% of the bets and 88% of the money is on Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
The lines continue to move towards my Texas A&M Aggies. So this will be a fun one. I'm going to put this in with my bookie post haste. I will get my shittier odds. But this is going to be a little bit of a double down spot for me. So I cannot wait to get extremely angry at Jimbo Fisher on a Saturday afternoon. Let's go to our last game of the program here, Mike, and another game where I have a bet on. Cabby and I talked about this as well. I am on the UCLA Bruins here to take a piece of Mr. I was going to call him Cam Rising again. But I think that UCLA wins this game. I'm not going to worry about trying to get the quarterback's name right again. Cam Ward.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cam Ward.
I need to prove that I can remember it at the very least. But yeah, I was calling Cam Ward, whatever the fuck I was calling him. And then I called Sam Howell, Sam Hartman a couple times as well. So it was a good day yesterday, Mike, is what I'm trying to tell you. It was a good day. I like UCLA here. I'm on UCLA -3, -125. Nasty Nate reminded me I was going to buy down to that 3, and now I can just get a 3 at regular price, which was annoying to see today. But we'll see here. I like the Bruins. Maybe a coaching matchup advantage for them as well. Mike, I want to hear your take on this game. Tell me why I'm either wrong or right.
We'll see. They still have to play the game, and it's a 3:00 start tomorrow. But yeah, Cam Ward, second in college football in terms of passing, prowess here, and just been a beast out there. That his effectiveness and efficiency at offense has led Washington State to an undefeated start in the season. And, really when it comes down to it, just a powerhouse out there on the West Coast in terms of generating offense. As far as this flip side of things, when you look at the UCLA side of things, they're ranked 26th overall in passing defense, which I think is important. If we're going to focus on the offensive quarterback, we got to look at the defensive passing game. And the reason that they're 26th is because they've got 6 interceptions. In fact, their touchdown to interception ratio is 3-6. They got twice as many interceptions as they do touchdowns against them. Why I think that's going to be a question mark for him this game here is because you got Cam Ward, who's a potential Heisman candidate and early in the season. I'm not a big early take guy when it comes to those things other than Jalen Hurts being the NFL MVP. But aside from that, Cam Ward, I don't think he's going to have those turnovers. Now, it is going to be their first road conference game for Washington State. That's going to be the big question mark. But Cam Ward's confidence and the team around him have been able to get it done and be productive. In fact, away dogs, when their opponent scored less than 10 points the previous game across college football, are 305 and 205. So big sample size with 510 games in the mix, but it's 3-2 in terms of that dog side finding a way to get the job done. Furthermore, we have the spread moving from 4 to 3.5, showing concern that those bets and the money are coming in on that Washington State side of things. UCLA, I'm just not a Chip Kelly fan. What he did to the Eagles pre their Super Bowl championship to me will never be forgotten or forgiven. But I do like UCLA's defense and what they've done this year. They brought on that D'Anton Lynn as their defensive coordinator. The challenge that I think that they're going to have at UCLA is much like they found that last game. They've got a freshman quarterback out there throwing the rock around. And I think that's going to pose the challenge against the team that's stout at defense with a strong quarterback game led by a potential Heisman candidate winner, Cam Ward. I think that's going to be the challenge mark here. And again, I get that 3.5 with the hook. And I like that spot. Again, I'm not afraid of anybody who wants to sprinkle that money line. That's a good look as well. But sprinkle being the key word or the operative word here. Right now, the 3.5 is -108. And oh, by the way, alert. Remember I told you when that one book has a particular number that's favorable than any other book, those are losses. And sure enough, they've got the same thing posed today with UCLA. So for me, on that the Washington State side at +3.5 is where I had to put my money.
All right. Well, good. I've got one good bet and one bad bet. So I'm glad to hear that. BJ also on Washington State there, seeing a lot of Washington State love as well here. And I'm very excited to watch this game as well. Love being on, it's not a bad thing being on the opposite side of people. It's fun. It's a good time. And we'll see who was right at the end of the day. By the way, my local, let's be honest, Mike. It's one thing being, you using FanDuel and you get your money from FanDuel. It's one thing to do that. It's a completely different thing to physically take money from your bookie's pocket. I want to bankrupt my bookie. I want to put him in the homeless shelter. And he had +2.5 on Texas A&M, +115. Money line for Texas A&M. So we'd love to see that shit. So I just doubled down on A&M as well. And fuck them.
Nothing better than meeting at a real seedy location and picking up a large envelope full of cash. So
yes.
Before,
It's fun. Now I've transitioned more to Venmo and Cash App just to save myself the time and trouble of that. But I'll tell you, it was very, very satisfying doing the old envelope handoff between cars. That was one of my favorite things that I enjoyed doing. in the rare times where you do end up taking money from your bookie in my fucking occasion.
I've had a few where I'm pulling away and I got to look at my Ruby to make sure somebody's not coming after me with a lead pipe in their hands. Those are always fun spots, and then you got to find a spot that you can count a big stack like that too. It's not a quick process, so it's always fun though, and love getting the locals, but take it anywhere I can get it. Try to spread it equally around and smash everybody.
Yeah, I agree with that. Next weekend, I'm going to be in Tennessee for a wedding, so I will be destroying FanDuel at that very moment. So it's going to be very fun. Darren Lyle's asking real quick, is there a pimp slap play yet?
You know what? I didn't have anything that I kind of drove off of the immediate here. Speaking of weddings, I've got a wedding this weekend, so I tried to cram in all my college football spots here that I was getting into. But I would say if I was going to look at one spot in particular, I know we didn't really get it too much coverage, but if I was going to go with the pimp slap, I hate this team. You guys have heard me up and down talk before about just how much I'm not a big fan of the program, but I think that they're a great spot today when they play not today, but this weekend, when they play a top 25 team. They're 9-0-1 in their last 10 against the spread. And the spot that I'm going to lean to for the pimp slap play of the weekend will end up being Notre Dame. I got Notre Dame at -6 against Louisville. So there it is. Give me Notre Dame -6. A lot of cash on Notre Dame. That kind of makes me concerned. They do have one common opponent, and that common opponent, I believe, was NC State, if I looked at my numbers properly. When you look at, not the common opponent says everything, but Louisville played NC State last week. They won 13-10. They barely won 13-10. When Notre Dame played them a couple weeks ago, they whooped the shit out of them 45-24. I think there's more to it than that, but the common opponent test, and you see the fact that when Notre Dame's a favorite against top 25s, they haven't lost in their last 10, are big spots for me to look at Notre Dame -6. They got the better quarterback, the better offense, the better program all around. I think they're going to get the job done. That'll be my pimp slap play of the weekend. There's a bonus spot for everybody.
Beautiful work there, Mike. I appreciate you for joining me today, especially after a long Thursday night stream. I appreciate you, my guy. And I'm wishing you good luck on that wedding. You'll have to give me some wedding tips after you go through it here. Give me some good moves that I can do at the wedding. Maybe I should, well, it's an open bar. I was about to say, maybe I have to buy the first round of shots, but open bar. So that's going to be an ugly business, Mike. I'm going to be very polluted next weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm a known dissident of weddings during football season. I think it's selfish. I've made my concerns known, both to the bride and the groom, that they are disrupting my time. And as much as it's their time, I am very frustrated and angered that not only do I have to deal with the wedding tomorrow, but I got to do a whole bunch of shit today. So collectively all week, it's just been dragging my dick through the mud while I try to get ready for this thing and then still find a way to cap games at the same time. So we'll get there though, Jose. We'll get there. I had a football game this weekend for UTSA, and I bought season tickets this year, so I already just sent them the bill. Here's my bill for my one ticket from this game. You guys have to reimburse me. I'm missing it. So, but thank you again, Mike, for joining me. It's a whole lot of fun when you're on the program, and I agree wholeheartedly. Weddings during football season suck. When's the next time we can find you? I should be back Sunday night for Sunday Night Live. We've been, our record on these live streams now going back to, it probably goes back 5 or 6 live streams now that we've just been banging away. We had a 15-1 same game parlay a couple weeks back. We had the 10-1 and the 3-1 and a bunch of other spots last night. Sunday, we had some great spots. I try to tell the boys with them Giants. I already learned my lesson with them Giants, but we did find some winners in that Giants game on that Monday stream as well. So it'll be real hard pressed for me to miss a live stream with our guy, Jimmy the Bag. I know he's got a big birthday week here. He was floating around Niagara Falls. I hope he made some cash as well. But looking forward to getting back with the boys on Sunday night and finding a way to put our heads together and crush them books, man.
Yeah, if he didn't make some cash, we would know, though, because he would jump in one of those barrels and then just over the rail and go into Niagara Falls. So I could see that for sure. Mike, thanks for joining us as always. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good, brother. Thanks, man. Shout out to everybody. Good luck. Cash them tickets.
All right, beautiful. Mike M joining us. Now we close up the show here. We appreciate everyone. I cropped my background here so we could see the money going. This is a good little update that we've had here, and maybe we'll be making that money a permanent thing going forward because it does look nice. So it's very fun. Thanks everyone for watching here this week or this last 2 days. I know betting with the bag hits a little different than I do, but I appreciate you guys for having the patience in these breakdowns, watching them, and absorbing all the information you can. Thank you to my guests, Mike, Billy, Sharpie, Cab yesterday. Appreciate all those guys making my life easier and making me look better because hopefully we'll be making some cash here this weekend as well. Recapping action, I got you, Nasty Nate. I got you. Here's the action that I have for us. I did not write down Billy's UFC action because we saw what he was doing. He's taking the juiced props there. So shout out to Billy. But I did write down his underdog of the day, Linz, and I just bet him as well with my local. Linz plus 126. I got plus 120. Felipe Linz, underdog of the day for Billy Brisbane, and he likes the under in the first game for the WNBA playoffs as well. What else do we have? We had our guy Dabby yesterday. I'll recap his real quick. He had Notre Dame first half minus 3.5, Washington State first half plus 2.5, and Oregon State plus 5 or minus 5.5 there as well. Mike had Kansas State team total over 33 minus 110, Nebraska plus 3.5 minus 110, TCU minus 6 minus 110, and TCU Iowa State under 52.5 minus 105. Sharpie, I don't believe gave any plays out because he's a pitching prop guy, and it's pitching props don't come out on these days. But I will say that I have one bet on the baseball card, and that's going to be the Orioles minus 1, even money there for me. Hoping the Orioles take care of business. And you guys have heard my thoughts on the division series. I think it's going to be Orioles in 4. If I'm being honest, I think it'll be Astros in 4 as well. But I would love to see the Twins somehow find a way to win that series. Braves, I think in 3 there. I think they sweep. And I think the Dodgers as well find a way. I think they'll win in 4 as well. So thank you guys as always. For joining us, Justin, EQ, Brandon, Robert Franklin, Christopher Commentini, DC Capper, Andrew G, Sharon, Craig Wood, Jeffrey Moore, Darren Lyles, all you guys, BJ in here as well. Shout out to you, BJ. By the way, again, BJ, 23, I think you said, making these gigantic bets. Shout out to you, BJ. That's the life I want to live there, my man. So shout out to you. You're cashing all the time, too. So I feel that. Mike, again, thank you for joining us. Coin, all you guys, we appreciate it. We'll be back here again tomorrow because we've obviously got Loshak and Jeff Nadeau breaking down the college football early in the AM. Then, of course, we have got Pub Hub. Jimmy will be back for the NFL Pub Hub on Sunday morning. Variety of different cappers. We'll have a good time breaking down all those games. And, of course, again, do not forget to lock in your cappers contest picks. Lock in your cappers contest picks. I think I'm officially going with Raiders, Saints, Falcons, Minnesota, and I think I'm going with the Denver Broncos against my Jets as well. Pretty shocking. The reverse line movement, or the line movement with the sharp action, I should say, is just a concerning thing. So Broncos for me, and I'm trying to figure out that Survivor contest as well. He's 24. Damn, BJ, you're making me feel like a poor bastard. But shout out to you there, my guy. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning for another edition of Saturday Means Football. Jeff Nadeau doing again Sunday. Jimmy. And we'll be back here again, same time here, Low Shack Show, cooking as we do every week. So say hey, and we'll see you guys next time. Money time!